the ideal situation is for them to sleep there, to spend the night. So early in the morning, that's the 10th day of the Hijjah. This is the third day. That is the Yawmul Hajj al-Akbar. That is the biggest day
of the Hajj.
Yes, the Yawmul Hajj al-Akbar. Because that is the day that everybody will have to come to Makkah.
Makkah. It's the big meeting.
Yes, everybody will have to come to Makkah in one way or the other. So you see human beings moving in their masses, in large numbers. They're flowing like you know, waves of water, moving down from Muzdalifah to Makkah. So they arrive in Makkah. Before arriving in Makkah, when they move from Muzdalifah early in the morning after Subuh prayer, they have to come to Mina, and then where they will do the Jamra, through the stone. There are 3 Jamrat, but on that particular day they will only confine themselves to 1 Jamra. 7 stones, make their prayers, and then they shave themselves, or they remove their hairs, and then from there, that's still the early hours of the 10th of the Hijjah. They move to Makkah, to the Kaaba, to do the biggest tawaf. That is the biggest and the last tawaf, or the circumambulation of the Kaaba, and then the Safa Marwa, because that is the day that they have to do the 2 of the pillars, the 10th day of the Hijjah. The first pillar they do the first pillar on the 8th. The second pillar they do it on the 9th, which is Arafah. But on the 10th they do the 2 pillars. That's the Tawaf and the Safa and Marwa. So by the end of the Safa and Marwa, on the 10th of Zil Hijjah, essentially speaking, the Hajj proper is over.
Okay.
The Hajj proper is over.
The basic tenets have been
done
now.
So now they can remove the ihram clothes, you know, go back to the traditional, normal dressing, but they are not yet back in Makkah. They'll have to leave Makkah again, go back to Mina, and spend 2 or 3 days for this what they call the days of Mina. That every day they'll go to the Jamrats and throw the stone in the 3 areas, in the 3 Jamrats. They do this. That's the first day after Hajj, after Eid. That's the second day of Eid. The 3rd day of Eid. After the 3rd day of Eid, when they do the Jamrat, they can go back. If they like, they can spend another day and make sure that they spend 3 days in Mina. So after the Eid, they can spend either 2 days, not less than 2 days, 2 days or 3 days in Mina. Now after the last Jamra in Mina, whatever that you can call Hajj,
okay.
And its how to call it attributes, it's over. Now they can start now going out of the Holy Land to their respective destinations.
Okay, if you're just joining us, you're reminded that you're watching ICRA, exploring the fundamental and basic tenets of Islam. Our guest tonight is Dr. Abubakar Senghor, the Dean of the School of Law at the Faculty of Law at the University of the Gambia. Don't forget, you can join us later, have your say and ask questions on the program when we open our lines. The number to call is 437-5905 for our local callers, and our international callers can join us on 437-3910. That's ICRA, exploring the fundamental tenets of Islam. Now, Doctor, I want to ask you, I mean, people usually prepare for journeys, and for a particular journey like this to the Holy Land, fulfilling the 5th pillar of Islam, what provisions should be made before one embarks on a journey like this?
That's a very good question, Ibrahim. Of course, materially, you would have thought of health. That health-wise you must be okay. Of course, realistically speaking, if you are not healthy, you cannot go. You must be physically fit. Financially, you must be okay too. You must be financially fit before you can go, because these 2 elements are important when it comes to the preparation. But when we talk about provision to carry, we are not talking about these things. What are we talking about then is taqwallahi. That is to fear God, to have God.
So that's the most important provision.
That's the most important provision.
For Hajj, taqwa.
Taqwa.
Piety.
Piety. You know, you must be, you must be, you know, in other words, a real Muslim.
Real Muslim.
And you are not going. You are now going for God alone. And what you have in your mind and in front of you is God. Your objective is to go and appease God. You must have God in you, in your mind, in every moment of you.
Sanctified.
That is the most important provision. Then the health, and that is why you'll be surprised if you are in Mecca to see people who are physically disabled.
Oh.
But they seem to be more active than the able-bodied people.
They're still gone.
Yes, yes. Somebody limping will go, past you quickly.
Every activity.
Yeah, very active and very, sort of highly motivated because they have God in them, in their heart. You understand? You see somebody, you think that you are physically fit, but when it comes to performance, when it comes to the doing of the actual thing, he's faster, he's stronger, and he's going to do it better, despite being either at least seemingly physically weaker or being, sort of disadvantaged in one way or the other, or even financially. So if you don't have that provision, no matter how much money you have, no matter how strong you are, you are going to be there, but you will miss the taste of the Hajj. You will not get it. So you must have this taqwa Allah Azza wa Jalla in your heart, in your mind. You must have God with you. It must be God who is before you. You understand? Otherwise, you're going to miss it.
You're going to miss it.
Even though you may not miss it legally, but you can miss it theologically or spiritually.
Now, does Islam define any particular age for performing Hajj?
Yeah, because Hajj is an act of worship and a pillar of Islam. Usually, like other act of other devotional activities, age of maturity is always the defined age.
That's it.
Yeah, that's the age of maturity. In other words, if the pilgrim is not mature, even though the Hajj can be valid, it can be accepted, but the obligation still remains. Like if you go to Mecca today, you go with a child of, let's say, 5, 6 years, your child, you do the Hajj with him or with her properly, he also will have got a good Hajj, accepted Hajj.
Wow.
But the obligation on him or her as a Muslim is still remain until he or she reaches the age of maturity and goes and do it. If you go, because this is an obligation that you have to do only once upon your lifetime. Even if you go to Mecca 100 times to do the Hajj.
And sometimes, Doctor, the perception, am I ready for the Hajj?
Yeah.
Yes. Or is it favorable for me? How should we perceive Hajj as Muslims?
There's another important issue you're raising. There is a problem about the way that we perceive Hajj. Some of us believe that unless you are grown up, unless you are sort
really
of
old.
Yes, or in your middle age.
Yes.
Life. Unless you reach that level, you don't have to. If you are young, like you, a young man or young woman, I still enjoy myself. I don't want to be seen associating myself with people who go to mosque. You don't go to mosque pretty regularly. If there are people who even don't want to talk about religion.
Yes.
There are people like me. They see me sitting in the television here talking about religion. They say, "Oh, this man is not fit even to be a dean of the law faculty because he's very, very funny thinking." There are people, because of their misunderstanding, the ignorance, they don't want to associate themselves with anything religion at a given age.
There's a
which
conflict.
is a dangerous.
There's a conflict between Islam and youth.
Well, it is not a conflict between Islam, but it's a confusion in the youth. Confusion, not conflict. Islam is a way of life.
It's a way of life.
From the day you were born as a Muslim, you have to be identifiable, associated with Muslims, with Islam and Islamic tenets, regardless of where you are. If you go to the Islamic East, whether you're talking about Pakistan or India or any other country, even now in West Africa, you see Muslims, wherever you see a Muslim, you see Islam in him or in them, regardless of wherever he goes or he walks, whether he is in the bank or he's in the presidency or he is in the office or he's in the farm or in the factory, because he's a Muslim, he's identified, he's defined by Islam. His activities are defined by Islam, he's identifiable with Islam. In other words, his identity is Islam. So because of this ignorance, many of the youth would mistakenly.
Yes, they hold the perception that
it's a wrong perception that you have to wait until you are old.
Really old.
So then because for him or for these people, they believe that in this world there's a period that you have to be cut off from God. You are there only for material purposes, to enjoy yourself, to satisfy